Okay guys, so before we start the video, I get marketing, advertising opportunities all the time. Companies want to sponsor this channel. They want to, they want me to do a video about their product. I've turned every single one down until this day, okay? But short form got in contact with me. They're almost like book summaries on steroids. That'd be a great way to describe them. And I just thought this is perfect for what First Man does. It just aligns perfectly with what we promote with self-improvement. It's time-saving. It's just something that I would use, and I would say that has real-world use. So I'm willing to promote it. So what we're going to do, guys, is just promote it on one video every single week in February. See how we get on, and see if they want to be a part of First Man moving forward. Okay. So just some details. The way that I'm using it is I'm kind of reading up on old books to refresh myself that I read years ago. Just get a quick 20-minute summary. It's perfect for that. And secondly, books that I didn't really ever get a chance to read in the past. And with my life becoming a lot crazier, guys, I don't really have time to read anymore. It's a real shame. I've bought at least 10 books this year that have just sat on the shelf. Okay, I've ended up reading like 10 pages and then I have to shelf it. I have to go and focus on something else. I don't like doing it because books were such a big part of my life back in the day. So, I've been trying to get back into it, and short form was just perfect for that. Prime example was the book The Game. With the industry that I'm in, a lot of you guys have read The Game. I never actually read it. I didn't really ever want to read it because I don't believe in that kind of approach. But it's something that I always knew that I should read and get my head around, just so I've got that knowledge base within that sector of the industry or what's said in the book. So by using short form, I was able to do that today. I was able to just listen to the audiobook whilst working. It's a fantastic tool for me, and there's so many other books on there, for example, that I've read, like Outliers by Malcolm Gladwell, which is fantastic. Thinking Fast and Slow, which is a really difficult book to read. So by having it in a short summary, it's fantastic. You've got books on there like the Seth Godin marketing books. You got Rich Dad Poor Dad type of books. Okay, you got finance books. There's a couple of sports books on there. The categories are quite vast, to be fair. So I'm a fan, guys. As you can see, I wouldn't promote it to you guys if I didn't think it was a useful tool or something that I would do. I actually wish I came up with a company idea myself. But some of the things that's worth noting, I guess, is they have new books every single week, which is obviously very useful. There's a mobile app. There's audio for some books, but not all. But there's, a decent range. And as I said, a great range of categories and books on there. So it is worth it, in my opinion. Now, they've given me a lifetime free membership. So it's different for me, guys, but I'm getting great use out of it. But the price for you guys, if you're interested, the annual price is $16.42 per month. And the monthly price is $24 per month, okay? However, if you use my link below, what you'll get is a 5-day free trial with full access of all the books on there, plus a 20% discount on the annual membership, which ends up being $12.97 per month, okay? So the same price as one book, or if we're going to look at this from a men's lifestyle perspective as, kind of my viewpoint on the world, that would almost be like just 3 pints of beer. So instead of actually going and doing something silly with your money like that and spending it on something stupid, every single morning you can make it part of your daily routine and read a book. This is exactly what I'm doing. I'm so happy because I lost that element from my life, so I can actually add that back in. Okay guys, welcome back to another video. In this video I want to talk about cash flow versus savings, and in this generation for some reason savings are king. Everybody wants, oh, what have you got in the bank? Fuck what you got in the bank. Okay, it can be useful if you can do something with it, but most people want to have like 100 grand in the bank and then just leave it there and be like, oh, he's rich, he's got 100 grand in the bank. Having that money in the bank doesn't make you rich, okay? If you've got like 5 million in the bank, fair enough, that makes you pretty wealthy. If you've just sold your company for $1 billion and you're unemployed and you've got nothing coming in terms of cash flow, but you've got $1 billion in the bank, look, you're rich, okay? That's obvious. But I don't talk in like singularities. People always say to me, no, but you're wrong because my friend, it's like, there's one person. Don't give me that shit, okay? I'm talking about the average guy on the planet. Now, the average guy on the planet makes about $2,000 to $4,000 per month. That's like UK. I don't know what it is in like American stuff like that. It's probably slightly more, obviously, because the dollar is weaker. But if the average guy is making that much money, well, then he hasn't got that same kind of opportunity, has he? Like, whatever, if he's got like 100,000 in his bank account and he's only got 3,000 per month coming in, and every month he's left with £500 after bills, tax, etc., and all the other bollocks that goes out the door, well, then it's going to take him a long, long time to be able to build that money up again if something happens to that money. And something does happen to that money. It's called kids, it's called mortgage, it's called marriage, it's all the fluff that comes with life. You know, and if that 100,000 that apparently made you rich starts to go down, and you pay 20,000 for a marriage, if you pay like 50,000 for a mortgage, and now your bills have gone up to a certain point with the kids where you're actually losing £100 every single month, well, it's not going to take long for that money to keep chopping down. And then your missus wants a car, you know, instead of a 2-seater, because there's 3 of you now, you're going to need a 5-seater car. She wants something with a 5-star safety rating. Your savings that were 100 grand have suddenly gone down to like 20,000. Now she wants a kitchen renovation because it's not safe for the kids or whatever. It just looks old and boring. Oh, that bedroom needs to be improved. The garden needs to be better. Like, you're paying all this money for pussy power because you want to keep her happy. A woman you already have, you're trying to keep. It's madness, in my opinion. But, you know, you go and do that, and then suddenly you've got 0 in your bank account, even though apparently you were rich with 100,000, and you've only got like, well, you're losing minus 100 every single month. Yeah, you might get a second job and top that up. Maybe you're now keeping like £500 per month. You know, even if it's 1,000, it's still going to take you like even if it's 1,000, it's still going to take you like, what, 8 years, 9 years to save that money back up, that 100,000. That's a shit life. That's not good. Okay, so stop worrying about savings. Okay, there's plenty of scenarios, and I've experienced this firsthand, especially when I was growing up, probably before like 25, 26 years old. And I still do it to this day to some extent, but obviously there's more money coming in now. I can kind of do both. But I used to earn something like £5,000 in a month back in the younger days, and I would put the whole lot back into the business. Okay, so I would cut my own hair, I'd look like shit, my clothes were terrible, my shoes had holes in, and girls would be like, oh, that guy's broke. You know, but then a friend of mine would go and buy like a BMW. He would go and put a 20k deposit down on a house, and people would be like, God, his life's sorted out. And I'd be thinking, I earned like 3 times more than him per month, but for some reason he looks successful and I don't. Okay, and he might have these assets, and in his bank account he's got 50,000, but I've put 120,000 back into the business or investments or ideas for the last 4 or 5 years. So you look at both of our bank accounts, I would have 0, or I might even be in my overdraft because I was that dedicated to reinvesting. And then, which, look, might not be a smart idea. You might want to leave like 2,000-3,000 in there, but I used to just fucking go for it. I was younger back then. I used to, you know, think if I'm going to do anything, I want to do it full bore. And this guy, whoever it might be, you know, might have like 20,000-30,000 in the bank account, 40,000. He's taking holidays, he's got the house, he's got everything. Like I said, on the surface, he looks way more successful. On the surface, in terms of savings, he's rich. I'm not. In terms of life setup, he looks super successful. But how long can his last? If he's only got £3,000 coming in per month, and at the time maybe I was up to like 8,000, 10,000 per month, and I'm reinvesting like crazy, how long is it going to be before I go, okay, I've reinvested enough, I'm going to start keeping that money now, and what's coming back now is like 30 to 50,000 per month. Okay, well, how long is it going to take to overtake this guy who's got 100 grand in his bank account with all the assets? 6 months. Okay, so once you've done that and you've overtaken them, well, then it's exponential because it's just you're doubling what he has every single month. Do you see what I mean, guys? So I would rather have 0 in my bank account but have like 30, 40, 50, 100,000 coming in every single month. Keep it realistic. You know, for the average person, 8 to 10,000 pounds coming in per month, but 0 in your bank account. Because every single penny that comes in, you're reinvesting, you're spending on building something, on investing into things, or you've just gone and bought 5 or 6 properties this year, which you're not living in, okay? So you're living in a shitted, rented accommodation, and you look poor on the surface, but in reality, your net worth, and this is why rich people worry more about net worth than anything else, but your net worth is skyrocketing anybody else who's, you know, living lavishly and giving the impression to the world that they're successful. There's a massive difference between having savings and having good cash flow. Now, if you have both, perfect. Okay? And that will come later on down the line. Like I said, I'm in that position now where I have savings and good cash flow, okay? But for you guys in the early days, because this is what you young men fucking struggle with the most, I know this because I was the one who didn't do all the bollocks and everyone else did, and now I'm in a fantastic situation and everyone else is struggling, okay? So I know what the fuck I'm talking about. I saw guys that were earning like £2,000 per month showing up in BMWs, Mercedes, Audis, and I was walking looking like shit. They had the beautiful woman next to them, and she'd be like, oh, he used to be an attractive guy. He hasn't done much with his life. It's like, no, on the surface, yeah, it would appear that way. But underground, I'm making serious moves. I'm just not telling you about them, okay? So listen to what I'm going to say to you now. Instead of, bringing in that small wage, whatever, and trying to leverage it and trying to have a sort of life that you can't really afford, reinvest every fucking penny you can when you're young, okay? Because like I said earlier, you will not have the savings plus the reinvestment. You've got to choose one. Are you just going to save your money for a rainy day, okay, and potentially build up a lump sum and then put lump sums in? Most people would just spend that on a mortgage, marriage, kids anyway. But you got a choice between the two. Are you going to save your money, or are you going to just keep putting it back in the early days? Because that's what you got to do. You cannot have both. You just won't be earning enough. If you're earning anything under $8,000 per month, you can't do both. You can't save money plus reinvest on a high level man scale, okay? Because high level men, they reinvest well. Like, they're not going into crypto with £5,000. They're going into crypto with like £150,000 portfolios. Like, this is the extent that like wealthy guys are operating on, okay? So if you're just going to be tiptoeing around and you're just like, oh, I'll put a tenner away I'll just put £100 away every single month for a rainy day. This kind of lifestyle that people do, you're going to be fucked, okay? If you're saving as much as you can, great if you're going to use it for something, but most guys don't. Like I say, it just goes mortgage, man, all this shit. You can buy as much stuff as you want. You can save as much money as you want. If the money coming in isn't replacing what's going out, which will happen eventually, then you're fucked. Like I said, I'd rather be a guy that has zero in his bank account, but he's reinvested like 300,000 from like 18 to 28. And on the surface, he looks broke. He's got nothing. He looks like a tramp. But in reality, he's got a business or an investment portfolio that's got like 300,000 worth of capital that's been plugged into it. And that is actually paying him back every single month. Let's say £10,000 per month. But he's not seeing it. He's putting most of it back into the business. He's taking out what he can live on the bare minimum. He's living on a low tax bracket. He could stunt on everybody. He's choosing not to. He's trying to leverage that 10 to make it 20, 30, 40, 50, so that then he can use that 50 and go, okay, I can use the portion of this to actually live a very good lifestyle now, whilst reinvesting in the business, the investment idea, the product I've just made, whatever it might be, without negatively impacting the progression of that said idea, product, whatever, investment portfolio. Okay? That's the only way to do it. But so many young guys, especially in this generation, you want to stunt before you can walk. And it's crazy. You've all got nicer cars. I don't have a car, right? I see guys that are 18 years old with 20 grand cars that they've got on finance. And I guarantee I earn 10 times more than you per month. Maybe even 15 times more than you if you're earning like £2,000 per month. And I don't have a car. So one of us is doing something wrong here. Maybe I need to go and enjoy my life more. Maybe I need to have more fun. Look, that's coming very, very soon. I've decided to do all that shit. But my guess would be that you're over leveraged. My guess would be that you're spending way too much money on lavish lifestyle, trying to look the part rather than actually be the part. Because like I said, you could have 100, 200, 300 grand in your bank account. It doesn't really matter. Because if, like, my old mentor had, when I met him, he had about 800,000 saved up. Okay, he was a millionaire at one point. His money was going down, but by the time I met him, I think it was roughly 700,000 in his bank account. Okay, we took multiple trips. He was investing in multiple businesses, multiple ideas, different things and whatnot. And by multiple businesses, I mean his own businesses. But he wasn't really working hard. He was getting up at like 5 p.m. He'd lost like that buzz for life. He wasn't like training or anything like that. Testosterone was dropping. He'd kind of lost interest. And his money was just doing that. It was just going down every single month. And he got to a point where he was just like, fuck, I'm kind of broke. Like, I feel like a normal person. I'm down to like 5 figures, like a £95,000 like savings account. And I was like, yeah, because back in the day, he used to bring in like 30,000 per month, whereas he got to a point where he wasn't actually bringing in anything. He was living on those savings, but nothing was replacing it. So he was still spending like he used to, but you got nothing coming in. Now, give him a scenario. Would you rather have had zero in your bank account with that 30,000 still coming in, but forever? Obviously, he's going to take that, right? And yeah, you could live on the edge. You could have zero and 30,000's coming in, then it stops. Like, there is dangers to this, guys. So it is better to keep like 5,000 or 10,000 in an account for a rainy day. Of course it is, right? It's like a backup fund. But you guys should be more worried about cash flow than you are about savings. Stop trying to say to everybody, oh, I've got a nice car, I've got a nice house, I've got 50,000 in the bank. Like, it means fuck all if you're doing nothing with it. You know, with inflation, that money's just it's just devaluing. Every single year it's just going down. Like, you've got to use that money for something. You've got to put those lump sums in. You've got to make that money work for you. Like, rich people always say that, and people say it, but they don't know what it means. It's because they want to increase that cash flow. They want to have that liquid cash coming in. Because with inflation, that money is worth more. Every time it comes in fresh, it's worth more each time. Because it's based on the current state of the economy. So you want that money coming in regularly. So I prioritize my cash flow over everything. So if I've got like, if I was like, this will change in the future, but if I'm sat there with like a spare 50,000, I'm putting it to work. I'm starting a fashion line, i.e. that's what I've just done. Okay. I'm not worried about like, oh, I've got 4 million in my bank account. As long as the cash flow goes high enough, that will just take place on its own. Okay. I'm looking to get to a point by Christmas where I'm making 100,000 per month. Now, that's my aim this year. And I think it's ridiculously possible to achieve. I think if anything, if I fail, I'd be like, what the hell went wrong? I'd have to like look through the whole year and be like, what did I fuck up on? I think it's going to be that easy to achieve, okay? Well, when I'm at that point, I can quite comfortably live a lavish lifestyle whilst reinvesting heavily, okay? And then you can build up your savings and all this other shit. Like, it can all come together. But get like reinvesting over all these years to get to a point where you're making 100 grand per month. I mean, that's like, you got no problems then. That's fantastic. Like, I easily could have got to a point where I was making 10,000 per month and been like, this is it. I'm going to go and enjoy myself. But I've held out multiple times. Like, I was supposed to move into that penthouse recently and I went, it's going to cost me 24,000 for the year to rent this place. How about I just put 24,000 back into products in a month? Okay, so that in 2 months' time, instead of making what I'm making now, it'll likely be double. I made another sacrifice. I was like, fuck it, I'll do it again. Because I'm more worried about the cash flow than what I have in the bank. I'm more worried about like the cash flow than the assets. I'd rather be super rich than look rich. Because every single month, I become rich. Do you see what I mean? It's like every single month you make more than most people make in a year. So it's easily fixable. It's very much like I told you guys before. How some people, like at the start of their life, they go and get the car, the house, they go and get the nice watch, the clothes, whatever. Like my friends used to say to me all the time, why don't you just get a normal job? You know, you could just buy a nice suit, get a car on finance, you could look good, you can get some points on the board, so to speak. Women will find you really attractive. And my response was always, because I can do all that shit in a month. Right? Like the foundations of life, fitness, success, they're the two things that take the longest. They take success on average about 12 years, like proper success. And then fitness, I'd say 3 to 5 years, you can get it done, okay? Well, they're like the foundations. They can't be cheated on. Now, you can take steroids and stuff like that. You win the lottery, whatever. But you still need to put the fucking work in. You're still going to need to, like, make that money concrete, if you would. You know, because if you won the lottery on a high level, yeah, it's different, okay? But if you just want, like, a certain amount of money and whatnot, but it's stupid to even think about because it's so rare. But with the gym, with fitness, like, you're still going to have to put years of work in, even if you're on steroids or not, and you got the best genetics. Still going to take a long time. So if you go and do the foundation, the fitness takes you 5 years, and then within, obviously, the 12 years, because the 5 would be in that, so you get to the end of that 12 and you've achieved success in a month. You could literally go, right, penthouse, car, brand new clothes, get a haircut from the best barber in the area. I'm going to get a brand new £2,000 fitted suit. I'm going to look the bollocks. I'm going to hire a nutritionist, a chef, whatever, to save me time. I'm going to get all these people in. I'm going to get skincare experts to make me look the bollocks. Like, do you see what I mean, guys? You know, I'm going to buy a holiday home. And then people are suddenly like, whoa, that happened overnight. It's like, no, I chose for it to happen overnight because it's that fucking easy. Like within Within a month, guys, if I decide to do this, I'm always like judging day by day. I don't really say concrete, I'm definitely going to do this thing. I kind of like weigh things up as they go. But within a month, I could go from this cold garage with this just like normalized setup that anybody could have to being in a penthouse with potentially having like a McLaren parked outside, like shit hot brand new clothes, and getting like shape ups every single week, dating women every single day of the week, taking like 3 or 4 holidays per month. And people are going, fuck, this guy's like life just transformed overnight. It's like, yeah, because I prioritize cash flow rather than savings. I know a lot of people with a lot of savings. I don't consider them as rich. You know, they don't really do a lot on weekends. They sit in, they save all that money. And yeah, they could stunt 1 or 2 months in a row. They could do it for a year. They could do it for 2 years, 3 years, and then it's going to drop off. You need that cash flow. You need that money constantly coming in, and do whatever you can to prioritize that. And the main way to prioritize that is when you build up savings, you got to use those savings as lump sums to put into something that is going to then pay you back. Okay. And then if your money goes up, you know, fantastic. You've got that cash flow there. You take it from £2,000 a month to £4,000 per month. Well, that makes your life better. That makes your life significantly better. Do you see what I'm saying, guys? Like, instead of now living a £2,000 per month lifestyle, you now have a £4,000 per month lifestyle. That's pretty concrete if that continues for a long period of time. Do you see what I'm saying? So instead of saying, oh, I've got a £2,000 per month lifestyle and 100 grand in the bank, you're going to have maybe like £5,000 in the bank, but you're earning double every single month. It's not going to take long for you to trump the other guy. You know, and you've got more capabilities. Your stress levels are lower because you're thinking, well, I'm bringing more in. That guy's panicking because he's thinking my savings are going down. Whereas every 4 grand you spend, you think, well, next month I've got the same coming in. Whereas him on his small little 2 grand budget, he might have savings, but he doesn't have a great life. He can pay for something in one big lump sum. But do you see what I mean? It's dangerous because as soon as that money goes down, then he's poor. Whereas if you've got 4, 5, 6, 7, 8,000 coming in per month, you're actually wealthy. You see what I'm saying? Like, you've got the option of investing that whenever you want. You've got the option of saving for 1 year and saving that money up and having roughly like, 96,000, something around that range. You've got that money to reinvest and put in. And then as soon as you reinvest all of that, the next month another 8 comes in. Like, that's way better as a situation. And then that 8 will probably become something like 16, 32. It will keep going up. It's not always going to double, but that money's going to keep going up because you're putting the lump sums back in. You've got to feed it. It's like your body with fitness. You can't just go to the gym and be like, that's it. You got to go and buy protein, like as in supplements. You've got to go and buy things like all the food that you're going to have. You've got to go, you know, you might buy gym trainers, whatever, because it just gets you to the gym. It gets you training. It just makes things better. You know, if you're like during COVID, everybody invested like £200-300 into gym equipment. Like, it's an initial investment into like food, equipment, clothes, whatever you might need to get a payoff, which is like the perfect body in the future. You've got to keep feeding it. You've got to keep putting those lump sums back in. You can't be putting these lump sums into a car. You can't be putting these lump sums into marriage. You can't just be slapping these lump sums on a mortgage with a house that you're going to live in that doesn't pay you back. Yes, you've got the house, great, but where now? You don't have any leverage. You don't have any walking room. You want that liquid cash coming in every single month because it allows you to operate, be agile. It allows you to be quick, allows you to make quick decisions, to change your plans, makes you adaptable. But when you just go, right, car, house, mortgage, kids, whatever, you're stuck. Every time you do something like that, you're putting a concrete block on your finances, on your ankles, wherever it might be, and you're stopping yourself from being able to move. Prioritize cash flow over savings. That's where the true wealth is, okay, guys?